Educate is a grassroots non-profit organization that works to essentially empower children and young people in Honduras, and to do that through ways that are community-based and really led by local leaders. So we really feel like local leaders in their own communities know best what their communities need and how best to implement those kinds of projects. And so we started up with that kind of idea of really wanting to support locally rooted change that will be sustainable because it's led by people in their own communities. So I moved to Honduras when I was 18 to spend a year volunteering at a children's home with at-risk youth who came from sort of backgrounds of abuse and neglect and really difficult stories. And it was eye-opening for two reasons. So on the one hand, it was seeing the absolutely vast disparities in the public education sector, Honduras being the most economically unequal country in Latin America. And just that massive void between students who know they're going to go to university and students for whom it's not even a thought. And so seeing that was frustrating and angering in many ways. It is possible. It has to be possible to create better opportunities. It has to be possible to create a system where young people have access to opportunities, and it has to be possible to do that in a way that's sustainable. So how can we figure this out? And that sort of stubborn hope, I guess, is what has carried Educate through on a personal level as well as a sort of organizational level, I suppose. So we were really small for a long time. There were 5 of us for the first sort of 2 years of Educate's existence. Since then, we use sort of volunteer platforms in Amsterdam to find people, and I have to say it's happened really organically, and I'm kind of amazed at the wonderful people that we have in our team. And every single one of them is great. I feel really privileged to work with really, really wonderful people. Now there's 30-something people, so we have a team in Honduras of local leaders within their own communities, and also a couple of project coordinators, and then a team here in Amsterdam of 20-something people as well who work on fundraising and all the behind-the-scenes kind of thing. We've started 6 school-based community libraries. We've got 3 young people in our university scholarship program, and across the board it's really been amazing to see what we've been able to do, and kind of realizing that it's possible for us to affect that level and that depth of change. So we have 2 sort of core programs. The first one that started up was a scholarship program. So we work in partnership with local public high schools to find and select really high potential young people who want to continue studying but don't have the resources to do that. And we have a scholarship program so to send those students to university. And those are students for whom university's never been on the radar. So really fundamentally life-changing opportunity. And then at the same time, we work with public primary and high schools to start projects that strengthen existing schools from the inside. A school is not a building. A school is the people in it. That is where learning happens. And if you can support those people, the teachers, local leaders who are trying to provide education for students but simply don't have the resources, we can then support students all the way through their educational trajectory. So from primary to high school to university, we can really create a system and a structure that's rooted in the existing public education infrastructure that can support students all the way through. We want to shift the power relationships that are so inherent to the nonprofit sector. And so instead of going in to communities with an idea or a one-size-fits-all approach, it's completely the opposite. So we're asking a lot of questions and building up a relationship of trust and respect, and then on that foundation being able to ask the right questions and figure out what communities really need. Creating local role models that students can see that so-and-so from my school is the first person to go on to university from this village, and can realize that is an option for them. And I think the effect that creates for students and communities can be really transformative. We're now at a point where we really want to scale up our work. It's required more people, just more manpower to raise more funds, to get the word out more, to have a bigger community sort of behind us. That's why we started sort of recruiting more people, and right before COVID hit, we doubled in size and suddenly had to go online, and it was all a little bit chaotic, but it's all going well. We want to set up a youth center. So in this municipality where our work is centered, we have these sort of library projects, we've got the scholarship program running. We want to have a space where we can bring people together. and we're working with the local municipality on that, so it's the first time we're really collaborating on a big project with local government. And so we hope to sort of, there's this really old building that has been closed for years that used to be a municipal library, and we want to refurbish it, set it up as both a municipal library and a youth centre where we can bring our scholarship students and other students from the different communities. We're working on a lot of fundraising and grants and things to see if we can make that happen. And so that's the big next step right now. So donations are always massively appreciated, but we recognise that obviously it's a really difficult time for a lot of people right now. So we're really focusing on our team and on trying to build a sort of diversified fundraising strategy. So if people are interested in getting involved, you can find our website, educate-ngo.com. We've developed our own definition of impact as an organisation, and so having that will allow us to then measure whether we are creating the impact that we hope to create. And basically our definition of impact is a cycle, and the goal is that our projects and the sort of interventions are sparking this cycle to take place. And that cycle goes from learn to lead to grow and back again. For example, with the library, you have the library, it's got this whole process behind it. It starts up, are the students learning? Are they becoming better readers? Are they gaining knowledge and skills? Are they developing their critical thinking? All of those kinds of things come under learn. And then you go on to lead, which is, are these projects, is it really led by the community? Does the community feel that they've led this project? Does it feel like theirs? Do the students feel that the library is their library, that they've been leaders in creating this space? And then finally that goes on to grow, and grow is trying to capture all the externalities. So I kind of think of grow as the ripples that go outward from the project. And that's taken all sorts of forms. So we've had kids writing their own books since having their libraries. We've had kids speaking at department-wide conferences about the fact that they started a library at their school. We've had these community reading days and all these sort of projects that are not what we set out to do, but that have happened as a result of the project. Developed surveys that within each of those, so within Learn, within Lead, and within Grow, we've got sort of KPIs, like metrics that we're asking students, parents, teachers, and other community members to evaluate the depth of that impact, but also the breadth, and also are we actually reaching the right people. So I think there's 3 elements that we're trying to capture within each of those. You know, if you do really listen, if you do ask the right questions, and if you believe in people, you can make things happen. And it's not about coming up with a model that, you know, can be replicated all over the world. I don't think that works. I think you see time and time again that these sort of one-size-fits-all approaches, it's not going to fundamentally transform a system, and that's what we're going to need if we're going to really create opportunities for young people to thrive. I have a lot of respect for people that try, because if you're not doing something, then you have no right to criticize anyone else. But if you are, then, you know, it's another step forward for something. There's this entrepreneur who I really love called Antonia McGrath, who says courage is a muscle, and the more that you use that muscle, the better it gets.